Ready?
I'm ready.
No, I'm not ready yet.
I'll post it on
5,
YouTube.
4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so here we have the frontalis muscle. On the back we have the occipitalis muscle. The two of them together would be the occipitofrontalis. Then we have the orbicularis oculi. There are two orbicularis muscles. You remember we have the orbicularis oculi here. We have the orbicularis oris right here. We also have the nasalis muscle. We're skipping over levator equi nasi. Down to levator anguli oris. And if you remember, levator anguli has a partner. This is the levator anguli oris. This is the depressor anguli oris. Then another guy that has a partner, this would be the levator labii superioris, and this is depressor labii inferioris. Got your little mentalis muscle right there. Another pair of muscles for you right here, zygomaticus major, zygomaticus minor. Here we have the rhizorius. And then when you pull off the rhizorius underneath it, you get to see the buccinator. Then the muscles of mastication. We have the masseter here, as well as the temporalis. There are two pterygoid muscles, the internal and the external. You don't have to point them out in the model, just know their actions. You have to dissect a little deep to get a good look at those. You also have here the sternocleidomastoid. And on the back, you get to see a little sliver of the trapezius. I'll point this out when we get to the bigger model. But the trapezius, as well as the semispinalis capitis and the splenius capitis. Okay? Next up. Spooky. Okay. On the spooky chick, we've got pectoralis major. Now, unfortunately, limitations of this model, I can't peel off the pectoralis major. But when you peel that off, look in your book, you will see pectoralis minor, right? If you turn it a little bit to the side, you will also get to see the serratus anterior. The serratus anterior here will blend into the fibers of the external obliques, wrapping around to the rectus abdominis, and then on this model, works a little bit differently. You can see the fibers of the external oblique coming like that. So that's these. The internal oblique will crisscross it like that. And then you have the transverse abdominis. Then, let me just put her back together here. Then, flipping it over, you get to see the full trapezius. You get to see the full latissimus dorsi. Again, limitations of this model. If you peel off the latissimus dorsi, look for the deep dissections in your book. You'll get to see the levator scapula, which would be right about here underneath the trapezius. You get to see also the rhomboid major and rhomboid minor underneath the trapezius. And you get to see the deltoid right here, as well as a part of the rotator cuff. You have the infraspinatus and the teres minor. Teres major is not part of the rotator cuff, but we sometimes throw it in there because it has some supporting action. Okay. Now I'm going to move. Oh, I'm sorry. Also, one more thing. When you peel off these muscles underneath, you will see the erector spinae going vertically. Let me check my list really quick and make sure I haven't missed anything huge up to this point. Would be on top of the sternocleidomastoid. So it's been peeled away here. It's been cut away. But it would be on top of the sternocleidomastoid. Its fibers run like this. Okay. So it doesn't really matter if we start off anterior or posterior, so let's just start off anterior. So now, if you remember, actually let's go to the posterior for just a second, because if you remember, on the torso model just a second ago, we saw the deltoid, right? peel that off. We saw the infraspinatus, we saw the teres minor, we saw the teres major. Now, in addition to these two muscles, which are part of the rotator cuff, you get the last two muscles, which would be supraspinatus up here, and the subscapularis on the underside. Okay, so down into the anterior brachium. So we've got the biceps brachii, short and long heads. The short head is going to attach to the coracoid process. The long head is going to go through the intertubercular groove and up around. Here we have the coracobrachialis from the coracoid to the brachium. And just to remind you, I pointed it out last time in lab, but the coracobrachialis was correct in your supplemental manual. It will adduct the shoulder. In your Krieger, it was wrong. Krieger said abduct. It is an adductor of the shoulder. Pull away your biceps brachii. You get to see the brachialis. And on my posterior, I get to see triceps brachii. We have the lateral head of the triceps brachii, the medial head, and the long head. Three heads of the triceps brachii. Then, down into the forearm, this is the posterior aspect. And I'm going to do this like a fan going out like this. We'll start with the anconeus, right here. From the anconeus, we'll go to the extensor carpi radialis. Skip over this tiny little muscle that is a pinky muscle you don't need to worry about. Then to the extensor digitorum. Watch the tendons connect. 2 through 5. Skip the little thumb muscles. Extensor carpi radialis brevis. Extensor carpi radialis longus. Brachioradialis. Now I've made my way around to the front. Brachioradialis once again. Pronator teres. My three main wrist flexors right here. That would be palmaris longus going right down the middle into the palm of the hand. Then flexor carpi radialis, flexor carpi ulnaris, and then just on either side of the palmaris longus, you can see right here, that is flexor digitorum superficialis. And then there's one in the posterior compartment that you have to pull this up to see. Supinator. Supinator's right there. Okay? You can see the pronator teres coming here and then the supinator kind of juxtaposing it. Okay, let's have a look at our upper extremity, see if I missed anything. So now let's do the pelvis and lower extremity. So here I am on the anterior aspect of the pelvis. Here you see the femoral head right here. Now in your Krieger book, they had the iliacus and the psoas major. Both of them here rather large, but most of the muscles have been cut right here. The two of them will converge into a single insertion right here, which is the iliopsoas muscle. Okay, iliopsoas. From there, I'm going to work through my adductor muscles. Now, the first one here is the pectineus. You will note when you see it in Krieger, the pectineus looks a lot bigger in your Krieger. The reason for that is the femoral nerve, artery, and vein are on the model, but they've been removed in Krieger. So when you pull these away, the pectineus looks a lot bigger. So the pectineus, followed by the adductor brevis, the adductor longus, the adductor, I did it again, shut off the light. Pectineus, adductor brevis, adductor longus, adductor magnus, and gracilis. We have the sash muscle coming across the front, that is the sartorius, of course. Then we have the four components of our quadriceps, and that would be quadriceps femoris, to be more proper. That would be the, can I back off a little bit on the zoom? No, that's the limitations of the doc cam. So I have the rectus femoris in the middle, pull off the rectus femoris, and I've got the vastus intermedius underneath it, vastus medialis on the medial side, and vastus lateralis on the lateral side. Making my way down into the leg, I have here, running alongside the tibia, I've got the tibialis anterior. Making my way on over, I've got the extensor digitorum longus, follow it into the tendons of the foot, extensor digitorum longus. Making my way around, peroneus or fibularis longus. Making my way around, I've got my gastrocnemius, medial head, lateral head. When I pull away, medial head here, come on you. I get a look at my plantaris muscle with its tendon. I also get a look at the soleus muscle underneath it. In fact, you can see the soleus continue around here. The gastrocnemius and the soleus together will come down and make the Achilles tendon. Peel away the gastroc and the soleus. Tibialis posterior, and then flexor digitorum longus. And I think that is everything on your muscle list. Here I didn't do the abductors. So the abductors would include the tensor fasciolata, and as you make your way around, I'm going to pull off the gluteus maximus. That's the big one, of course. Pull off the gluteus maximus. I've skipped the hamstrings too. I skipped the whole posterior. Okay, pull off the gluteus maximus, and then you see the gluteus medius right here. And these muscles, unfortunately, are not in your Krieger, but they were in your muscle list, and they are in your textbook. We went over them in lecture. So from the gluteus medius, we go to the piriformis, followed by the gemellus superior, followed by the obturator internus, followed by the gemellus inferior, followed by the quadratus femoris. And then the hamstrings. Hamstrings, this group of four muscles here, I've got the biceps femoris, long and short heads on the lateral side. And on the medial side, I've got the semitendinosus with the skinny tendon on top, and the semimembranosus, the fat one underneath it. All right. Now did I miss any?